Today we'll be adding Wi-Fi to our Prusa MK3 by integrating a Raspberry Pi Zero-W. Before we get started with this video, I did want to say that this is going to be my last video for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to take a couple weeks off for summer vacation. I'm sure I'll be in contact with many of you over that time, but I'll be back soon enough with a lot more great content. Now back to this video. With the introduction of the Prusa MK3, Prusa has made it really easy to integrate a Raspberry Pi Zero-W on their main board to allow Wi-Fi connectivity via OctoPrint. This is a picture of the MK3 main board. You can see there's a header on the top of the board. You can solder some pins on the Pi Zero and insert them through the back of the main board. This will provide power to the Pi Zero and connectivity to the printer. The setup of the Pi Zero-W really isn't that difficult, and you don't need that many things to get started. So let's walk through that process right now. So besides a Prusa MK3 or an equivalent mainboard, all you really need to get this set up is a Raspberry Pi Zero-W. The W is the one with wireless connectivity. An SD card to load the OctoPrint software. This one's an 8 gig. Some male header pins. We're going to solder these on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to use a USB extension so that I can add a camera to this setup, and a printed spacer that Prusa provides for you to put underneath the Zero when you're attaching it to the back of the board. So we'll start by soldering the header pins on the board. It's pretty important that you have the proper length header pin. These need to be 18mm pins. Prusa has designed the printed part to make it pretty easy to tell which pins that you need to attach. If you set it on the board like this, the only pins that you need to solder will be the ones for the holes that go through the part. The plastic part on the header pin will act as a spacer in between the printed part and your board. So we'll cut 7 pins off of our strip, and I'll keep the first 4, remove 2, and then leave the last one. So it looks like this. And now it'll fit on the printed part. And then you need to add that 1 pin underneath. It's probably best to use a dual pin header for this, but I've got a lot of singles, so I'm just going to remove all the pins and leave the one that I need. So here's my single pin, and I'll just set it in the printed part like this. Top header goes right here. And so everything lines up just like this. Double and triple check your configuration, because if you hook this up wrong, you could either ruin your Pi Zero or your printer's main board, and you don't want to do that. So before you solder, make sure you have the right pins. And now all the pins are soldered. Now that the pins are on the board, we'll head to the computer and we'll get our SD card set up with OctoPrint. So we'll head over to the OctoPrint site, we'll go to download, and we're going to download octopi. This is OctoPrint that's already compiled and ready to go on a Raspberry Pi. When that's complete, we'll head to downloads. We'll right click and extract all. Now we're going to need a tool to put this image on our SD card. I use Win32 Disk Imager. If you don't have this tool, it is free, link in the description below. Click here to browse to your OctoPrint image. There's our image file. Click open. Select your SD card device and click write. Now the write is successful. Now we can open up our new boot volume, and we'll need to edit the WPA supplicant file. I recommend you use Notepad++. And if you're using WPA security on your wireless, which most people are, we'll uncomment these lines, and you'll add your wireless network information and your password. Make sure you get all this information right the first time, because if you don't, you're going to have to take everything apart again, and you're going to have to load your SD card and change this information. Now that we're done, we can remove the SD card, and we can load our SD card into our Pi Zero. Now OctoPrint's pretty much ready to go. Now it's time to do a little surgery on our MK3. We'll open up the electronics control box, and from the outside of the control box, we'll loosen up this top screw and the bottom screw so that we can slide this back part of the case off. And with those 2 screws loose, you can just slide the case off. Now with the case off the frame, we can take off these 4 screws that are holding the board to the plastic. And with the 4 screws out, we'll go ahead and cut this top zip tie to give us a little room to pull the board out. Now the case is off and you can see the back of the board. These are the holes where we need to mount our Raspberry Pi Zero. You want the top pin that you soldered on your Raspberry Pi, this one, to be in the top left hole of that pin header. So it'll slide on just like this. Make sure all the pins went in correctly and your printed part is flush on the back of your board. And when done correctly, this is what your pin header should look like from top of the board. You have your 4 pins down here and your 2 pins up here at the top. I'm also going to add in my USB extension. It goes in this port right here, and I'm just going to let it snake down the back of the board inside the case. So now we can put the back of our case back on. We'll replace our 4 board screws. Board screws are back on. Now we can go ahead and slide it back onto the frame. We can tighten the frame screws back up. And we can reset our wires and put our zip strip back in. Wires are once again secure. We can go ahead and tuck everything back in and close the control box. There we go, good as new. Now that everything's back all nice and neat, let's go ahead and power our printer on. And we need to turn our Raspberry Pi port on. So we'll go into Settings. And then we'll scroll down, go to RPI port, and click it. And the RPI port is now on. This will power on the port on the board, and the Pi will start to boot up. Now the printer's on, and the Raspberry Pi port has been enabled. Now the Pi is going to be booting up, and it's going to grab an IP address from your wireless network using DHCP. The problem is the DHCP address can change, so we need to go set that to a static address. So I'm going to walk you through that process now. So the first thing we need to do is find out what IP address the Raspberry Pi grabbed when it booted up. The easiest way to do that is to log into your router. Now every router is going to be a little bit different, but you should be able to find a list of IP addresses that your router has handed out to different devices. You can see this Raspberry Pi device right here has a 1.186 address assigned by DHCP, and it's only been online for a little over 2 minutes. So more than likely, that's our new Raspberry Pi device. So now we know the temporary address that DHCP assigned. Now we need to make it static so that we can go to it every time we need to access that Pi. In a previous video, I showed you how to assign an IP address to the MAC address of a specific device. And that does give you the same results as setting a static IP address, but not every router has this option. So today I'll show you how to do it in Linux and make that IP static. So we'll open up a Putty SSH tool, and we'll log into that 186 address that the DHCP server assigned our new Raspberry Pi. Default username is Pi. Default password is Raspberry. You can see up here that our current IP address is 1.186. So an alternate way of making that IP static is to edit the dhcp cd.conf file. So we'll do sudo nano /etc /dhcp cd.conf. We'll enter our default password one more time, and we can scroll all the way to the bottom of this file. And we're just going to add a couple of lines to configure our wireless interface to have a static address. So we'll add the line interface space WLAN 0. WLAN 0 is the default name for your wireless device on your Raspberry Pi. Yours might be a different name, but probably 90% of the time it's going to be WLAN 0. Then we skip down a couple lines and we're going to set the static IP address. So we'll do static space IP underscore address. And then we'll do equals and then the IP we want to set it to. I'm okay with 1.186. We can keep that address. I just don't want it to ever change. So we'll do 192.168.1.186. And then you're going to do a / and tell it what subnet mask you want to use. Most home networks are only going to have one subnet, so you're just going to enter 24. That's going to work for most everyone. Then we need to add a static routers entry. This is the gateway for this network. So we'll do static routers, and we'll do equals 192.168.1.1. That's the IP address of my router and my default gateway. And just one more entry for domain name servers. That's also my router. So we'll do static domain underscore name underscore servers. We'll do equals 192.168.1.1. And that's all the changes you should have to make to get your Raspberry Pi to have a static IP address. So we'll do Control X, we'll do Y, and enter to save the changes, and then we'll do sudo reboot now to restart the Raspberry Pi. And if you go back into your router and look at your DHCP list, now that the Pi is rebooted, it's now listed as a static IP. So that IP will never change. Now that the Pi is rebooted, let's restart the session. Pi, Raspberry. There's a couple things in the config files that we'll have to edit because the serial connection on the Raspberry Pi isn't going to communicate with the main board directly. So let's go edit config.txt. We're going to do sudo nano /boot /config.txt. Now we can go all the way to the bottom of this config file, and we're going to add a line that says dt overlay equals pi3-mini uart-bt. This will swap the serial connections for the internal Bluetooth chip and the GPIO pins so we can use the GPIO pins as our interface. So we can do Control X, Y, and enter to save that file. And then we also need to edit the command line.txt. So we'll do sudo nano /boot /cmd line.txt. And you'll need to go find your console equals serial 0, 115200, and we'll just delete that part, but leave your spaces, like so. So again, we can Control X, or you can Y, and enter to save. Now let's reboot one more time to bring in all those changes. Sudo reboot now. Now that we have our static IP all set up, we can head to that IP. And the first time you try to log on, you'll get your setup wizard. So we'll just click Next, enter your username and password, click Keep Access Control Enabled, and then we'll click Next. You can enable your internet connectivity check. It just pings Google. I always enable it. And then click Next. You can enable your plugin blacklist processing, and then click Next. Cura engine, I don't care about. We'll click Next. We'll set up our default printer profile items. We'll call it Prusa MK3, MK3. We'll set our print bed volume to 50, to 10, to 10. We'll set our axis speed. This is the speed that it moves when you're controlling it with the OctoPrint. The only thing I like to change is I like to lower the extruder down to 100. Hot in an extruder, we have a 0.4 nozzle and there's only one extruder. Click Next. And now we're done with the setup wizard. We can click Finish. So we'll head into Settings. And the first thing we need to do is add our additional serial ports. So we'll do /dev/tty AMA0. This will allow us access from the GUI to the serial port that the Raspberry Pi is using. Let's also go over to Appearance, and we'll title this printer. Let's change the color over to orange, and I'm going to make it transparent. So click Save. Now refresh your browser, and the new serial port we just added should be available. There it is. Switch your baud rate to 115200. We're going to save connection settings and auto connect on server startup, and click Connect. Now your printer's connected. You can see it's showing all the SD files. It's active in the terminal window. Everything should be ready to go. Now I'll plug in a webcam to the USB port extension that I added. I'm using a Logitech C270, and we'll just set it on top here for now. And now if you head over to the Control tab, you can see the webcam feed for the printer. Let's do a quick temperature test just to make sure everything's working. Looks like the temperatures are going up. Let's head over to Control and move around a little bit just to make sure it's working. Everything looks good. Let's go ahead and home. So there you go. Now you have a nice OctoPrint server install that's contained inside the printer's control box, no extra USB cable or power wire for the Raspberry Pi. This is a really nice feature that Prusa has baked into this main board. It's pretty straightforward to get set up and affordable. I hope you liked this video and you found it helpful. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. If not, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you all in a couple of weeks, and as always, thanks for watching.